Sunset Shimmer.
Hello everyone, Sunset Shimmer here, back to talk to you about another game. But first, I have to set the stage. Okay, so in 1996, two games that became a worldwide success were released. A game about catching mythical monsters called Pocket Monsters, or Pokémon for short. I personally would always select Charmander. Ah, there's one right there. The success of the Pokémon franchise were off the charts at the time. You know how popular Pokémon Go was a few years ago? Think of that times 10. We're talking trading cards, toys, books, and of course, the anime. So by the time 1999 rolled around, the Pokémon craze was at its peak. And one thing was on everyone's mind. When was a Pokémon game going to be on the Nintendo 64? Well, it didn't take long for that exactly to happen. But it wasn't what fans were expecting. Pokémon Snap was released on March 21st, and it was a picture-taking game. Now, I just want to be clear. This is a good game, but at the time, it's not what fans wanted. They basically wanted a 3D Pokémon Red and Blue to play. But let's take a look at what we got. So, you play as Todd Snap, a character who first appeared in the anime in the episode Pokémon Paparazzi, and he was hired by Professor Oak to put together pictures for a Pokémon report he was working on. Now, in the levels, you're put inside a machine that's constantly moving, so you can't just stop whenever you want to take pictures. You have to do it on the fly and be quick enough to capture Pokémon when they're in the best poses. The better the pose, the more your score will go up. That meow still makes me laugh to this day. Now, this game doesn't completely depend on luck. If you want the best pictures, you have to make them happen. Like, for example, taking a shot of Lapras early on will make another Lapras appear later. And if you take that Lapras's picture, it'll create the best scenario where a third Lapras comes up and is closer to your camera than all the others. So yeah, there's a lot of strategy involved. And sometimes levels have to be completed multiple times just to get the shots you want. And I love this part, where all the Charmanders run over the hill when you throw an apple, and when they finish eating, they turn to you and want more. They are so freaking cute! You want to see the hardest shot to get in the entire game? Alright, so go to the cave level, and about halfway you will see a Pikachu get abducted by a Zubat. And then you have to free the Pikachu by throwing Pester Balls, and trust me, it is difficult to hit. I recommend just throwing in one area and hope that Zubat flies into it. So when Pikachu is free, he'll fall, but he'll be caught by balloons. He floats to the ground and heads over to the Crystal Egg and 2 Jinxes. You then have to play the Poke Flute, and Articuno will hatch from the egg. After a while of flying around, Articuno will pick up Pikachu and fly towards you. Make sure your camera is ready, because everything has to line up perfectly for the shot. And it came out pretty good in my opinion. Too bad Blockbuster Video isn't doing their Pokemon Snap promotion anymore. They used to have these stations where you could actually print your photos from the game. Rest in peace, Blockbuster Video. You know, as I continue to play, I start to realize this whole thing is really sick when you think about it. You're literally going into these creatures' habitat and throwing things at them to get them to do what you want. Yeah, try that at the zoo sometime and see what happens to you. You're like, hey Charmeleon, I want a photo of Charizard, so I'm going to hit you with an apple and force you to evolve. And then I'm like, I want better pictures, so I'm gonna hit you again so that you breathe fire at me. And honestly, how am I not dead after this? You can see the fire headed straight for me. So yeah, that's kind of how the game is. You hit Pokemon to get the best pictures. Isn't that messed up? I never thought I'd be able to say that I smacked Mew in the face with a blunt ball that was created to hurt Pokemon. I would expect this type of encouragement from Team Rocket, but not from you, Professor Oak. And while I'm talking about Professor Oak, he wouldn't know good art if it bit him on the butt. Look at this picture of Charizard. Looks pretty epic, doesn't it? And yet, when I show it to Professor Oak, he's like, that's not very good. Excuse me, this picture is awesome and I risked my life to take it. And then when you bring him 2 pictures of the same Pokemon and one is clearly better than the other, he will pick the one that's worse. Look at this picture of Kakuna. Which one do you think is better? The one with 3 Kakuna nicely framed in the shot, or the one where you can't even tell what's going on? And of course, he picks this one. Why, Professor Oak? You're worse than J. Jonah Jameson from the Spider-Man movies.
Crap, mega crap.
And some things Professor Oak says is pointless. Like, when you open up a new path in the river level, he will call you back to his lab to tell you that he opened a path in the river level. Gee, thanks, Professor Oak. It's not like I was, there or anything. Now, I know it sounds like I don't like this game, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Despite my complaints, it's still a whole lot of fun. It may have not been the game that fans were asking for, and they would have to wait a few decades to actually get that game, but Pokemon Snap deserves my recommendation. It was a blast to play back then, and it's still fun today. And I'm still proud of some of my pictures, like this perfect picture of Haunter. Doesn't it look awesome?
You serious?